Thank you for being here. I know there was a lot going on in Wyandotte County right now, but what do you consider the biggest issue that you'd like to tackle?
You know, I think the biggest issue is going to be lowering taxes, and in addition to that, our spending within unified government. Our taxes have been such a burden for our residents, and that's the biggest complaint I hear, you know, when I'm out on this campaign trail. So we've got to get a hold of how we do our taxes, lowering our taxes, and of course, really assessing where our spending is so that we can truly benefit our residents.
Are there things from the budget you believe could be cut?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things I think is our debt service. I think that's an area which we could really look at. I know that we're putting a lot into that, but we might be able to pull back on some of that so that we can meet service needs. But until we really get in there and assess where things are line by line, we'll have a better opportunity to know where we need to focus on our spending.
You mentioned lowering property taxes. The commission unfroze the rate, which means they could be going up. How do you prevent Wyandotte County from going through everything that Jackson County, Missouri did?
So one of the things I'm hoping that we're able to do is, number one, we've got a lot of land bank properties that we need to fill. There's about 4,300 lots still underdeveloped, and so that's about 10 million in revenue that we're missing out. So we definitely want to look into that. And then we want to also look at our development projects, make sure that there's a true community benefit for our residents, which would include some infrastructure, as well as any other development that's needed that meets the service needs.
Just as far as economic development, what would you like to see in Wyandotte County?
In terms of that, I'd like to see downtown revitalized. I like to see us do more with housing in our lower areas like the Northeast area. There's land bank opportunities also in Argentine and Armadale. And then of course we also want to continue to welcome any large projects. You know, we've got Mattel coming out of the Bonner Springs area. And so we definitely want to keep the momentum going when it comes to that.
There's been a bit of a revolving door in the City Hall when it comes to the mayor, right?
Yes.
We've had 3 back-to-back one-term mayors. What does that do when you're trying to secure economic deals? And what do you say to people who want a little bit more stability at City Hall?
I think really it just boils down to relationships. How do we manage those relationships? We've had a lot of discord going on between the mayor's office and the commissioners. I think it's kind of stabled out, but in the beginning, Mayor Garner had a difficult time. And so I think building those positive relationships with our commissioners, working more one-on-one with them, and then identifying those development projects that will truly benefit again. And that includes, you know, what our community benefit agreements look like. And we want to make sure that those development projects not only meet our long-term goals, but our short-term goals. And those short-term goals would include jobs, higher paying jobs, and of course, contracting opportunities for our MBEs.
I mean, you have a Chamber of Commerce background.
Yes.
You worked under Mayor Alvey with the small business development. How important is that, and are there specific programs that you'd like to enact on day one?
Absolutely. Small business liaison, I think, is in the works right now for UG to hire, and so really want to work with them. I want to develop some small business programs. There were a few already, but those went stagnant, so we want to see those come back. I used to work in the mayor's office, and I worked with the small business liaison at that time. That role since went away, but we did a project called WYCO Loves Local. I love to be able to bring that back to encourage people to support local business.
Let's talk about something that's in the headlines right now. We have seen really unprecedented times when it comes to immigration enforcement.
Yeah.
Many immigrants call KCK and Wyandotte County home. What is your stance on what's happening, and what would you do as mayor to address those concerns?
Well, as mayor, I mean, it's about everyone. We want to be inclusive of everyone. And so there's a lot that we can't do because of the state, but our overall objective is to just treat everyone equally and to respect everyone.
Any directives for law enforcement or anything when it comes to helping immigration enforcement?
You know, I've talked to both the sheriff and the chief, and I know both of them are very considerate of our residents. Their job is to make sure that they enforce the law when necessary. But I think that overall, you know, unless the state mandates, which it does, particularly for the sheriff's department, we will continue to be in communications. And I know that the police department do an excellent job in still meeting with immigrants, helping them with municipal IDs. You know, there's a vetting process that they have to go through. So we'll just continue those efforts.
What's the biggest challenge facing the county right now, do you think?
I would say poverty. We've got, within our school district alone, there can be in any given year up to 400 families that are considered homeless. And when you look at that number, it could equate to almost 10% of the population within Wyandotte County. And that's just within one school district, because we serve 21,000 students at KCKPS. So poverty is a big issue.
How do you address it?
One of the ways that we want to make sure we address it is continue to have wraparound services around those families. Our McKinney-Vento department within KCKPS does an excellent job in doing that. And they have relationships with other nonprofit agencies that provide those services. And then the other thing we can really work on is just finding housing that is adequate for them. And I know with the foundation that I support, we have looked at old buildings that we could try to convert and work with other nonprofit groups to ensure that families have the housing they need while they're in transit from one location to another.
Last question, what makes you the best candidate for the job?
What makes me the best candidate for the job is because I'm ready for the role. I really am. I have been, for the last 4 years, I've been in 3 different leadership programs: Kansas City Tomorrow Leaders, Leadership Kansas, and the Education Policy Leadership Program. And each one of those programs give you not only a local view, but a regional view of what is happening and what, who the movers and shakers are, where your resources are, and where funding is available. It is a vast network that I can bring to unified government. Having already worked in the mayor's office and built relationships within UG and staff and the county administrator's office for that matter, I know I'm well equipped to take this role.